Hi guys, and welcome to my review. This time around, we have the GSAUDIO ST8B, also known as the Carousel, up for scrutiny by myself. And before I carry on with the talk, just want to get out of the way this issue of the case. We, or those of us that know GSAUDIO and those that have followed my reviews, know that I'm a big fan. I like their products, some more, some less, but overall I like their products. But the one thing that I would really like to give a suggestion to them is, if not on the lower end models, but at least on the higher end models like the ST8B. I mean, we're talking almost $400. Yeah, this is around $360 or $370, if I'm not mistaken. So when we're talking this kind of price, I would like honestly to see a cable of slightly better quality. I am not saying that the stock cable is bad. No, it's not bad, but I'd like to see something just a little bit more, um, perhaps a slightly bigger selection of tips. And I would like to see a case like this, a nice, more luxurious case, something that just looks more premium, because something like this, or something like the case of the Tripoan Olina, it just makes it that more lush. And the reality is this: yes, we want the IEM to play well, but we also want to, if we are not getting at least an amazing unboxing experience, but at least to have accessories which are on par with what this IEM is capable of doing and is doing. So that's my little suggestion to GSAUDIO, and I hope it's taken with the best of the intentions. Anyway, on to the ST8B. This is my ST8B, and if you guys can see, this is a kind of I've asked for a custom shell color and faceplate. It's got some reminiscence of, well, this is my EJ07Ms, and kind of a little bit of that kind of look which I wanted to have on it. Not that the stock color scheme that they actually have for it is ugly. If you guys give me a second, I'll actually show it you. There we go. So it's not that it's ugly, but well, I think this is a really nice product, and I think it just deserves that little touch of class. Anyway, let's talk about the ST8B. Without wanting to sound like I'm hyping or exaggerating or anything of the sort, I have a lot of GSAUDIO earphones. GD3A, GD3B, GD3C, GD3D, GD7B, GD5, SD3, SD5, ST1, ST4, ST8, GT12X. So I can with confidence say that I am a connoisseur of GSAUDIO. I know their product. I've got a lot of their product, so I've been able to get a feel of what is good, what is excellent, and what is not so good. Okay, and unquestionably, the ST8B is the best set that I own of GSAUDIO. The best set. Previously, or not previously, but up to now, I had the GD3A in very good, in very good, in very good positioning overall, as an amazing 1+2 hybrid up to $100. The GD5 as a 1+4 was spectacular as well. The ST1 as a single BA is something that must be heard. It is really, really, really good. But this ST8 just took it to a whole different level. well, let me just tell you what I have here and what I use to compare the ST8 with, so that you can have an idea of how highly, of what I really genuinely think of it. Over here, I've got the DT600 running 80 ohm impedance adapter. Well, it was my first all BA set of better quality, and it still stands as one of my favorites. One of my favorite sets, beautifully executed. Really, nothing that can be flawed. Crystal clean, highs to die for. I honestly didn't in any way ever perceive it to have that typical BA coldness, let's put it that way. If anything, one of the first things that surprised me the most about the set when I first heard it was how good the sub bass was. It was DD like, okay, and in that aspect, the timbre and the tonality of this IEM is unreal. Next to it, our audio neon, my favorite BA set of all the sets that I own, and I was lucky enough a couple of weeks ago to actually have heard the RSV, which is a set which will be part of my collection. Let me just make that perfectly clear. I've been looking and seeing if a used unit comes up, and at the time when I compared the RSV with the Our Audio, I considered both of them to be on par, although having different philosophies in terms of what sound they were trying to put out. The RSV was a laid-back, harmonish kind of tuning, flawless mids. I mean, just something absolutely stunning to hear. Very laid back, very relaxed, nothing wrong, flawless. This more of a V-shaped kind of a signature bass, like you really wouldn't believe. It doesn't. There's bass there, there's rumble, there's everything. Having said that, there are occasions which actually the DT600 has a little bit more of the, absolute deep bass. It's got a little bit more. But then again, it could be down to the fact that it doesn't have the same mid bass as the Our Audio. But bass, amazing. Mids, tremendous mids. One of my reference that I compare with my IEMs or other IEMs that I'm using with to this. So overall, the Neon is my favorite BA set that I have. Love the way it just plays. Maybe and some people that have heard it might consider it just a little bit overwhelming, just too much bass and so on. Personally, I think it's perfect. I think it's an amazing set, and I really like it. On this corner here, I have also another GSAUDIO, the GT12X. And this was a unit that came to replace the original unit that I got, which unfortunately was had some issues. And I think that problem was not only with my unit. I think there were a few other units that had that problem, and it was down to perhaps a rush to get the IEM out into the market, which maybe if some of the first units did not fulfill their proposed quality. But having said that, GSAUDIO has been flawless, and no questions asked. I showed them what was wrong with the IEM. They acknowledged their fault, and they immediately proceeded to give me a replacement unit. So that is what I expect. Honestly, that is what I expect. A company that stands behind its clients, stands behind its customers, stands behind the people that spend money with their products, like I have. And no, oh well, no. There. So I've got the GT12X, the replacement unit, and this as well as an all BA set 12 BAs, a mix of Belsin, Knowles, and it's also got some Sonyans in here. Very, very nice sounding IEM. I mean, obviously we're talking a different price bracket. We're talking about 260, if I'm not mistaken, $260. The Neon is about 600. The DT600 is about 240. So the DT600 and the GT12X are basically the same price. But in terms of sound, the GT12X, and I'm going to talk about the sound of this particular unit. I'm not going to talk about the sound of the other units, because I've seen graphs of other units, and the other units compared to this one, and hopefully compared to the ones which have now been being released by GSAUDIO, and this one here seems to be the tuning that they had intended for it. Very nice. It's not a bass heavy IEM as the Neon or the DT600. And by bass heavy, what I'm trying to say is it's in comparison. If you listen to all three of them, when you swapping between, you notice this one is much lighter in terms of bass. Okay, but the bass that is there is quick. It's fast. It's got nice impact, great mids, and very decent extension up top. If any flaw is to be presented to the GT12X, it's perhaps that there could be just a tad more extension. But overall, very nice sounding IEM. I personally found that while if on the DT600 and on the Neon there was no such issues with regards to timbre or tonality being wrong, at least for me, I found it to be quite correct most of the time. With the GT12X, you could feel sometimes that BA tonality. You could feel that it's had some coldness the way it was presenting itself. On this finally on this corner here, the EJ 07M, an IEM which as well is up there with my favorite IEMs, with my top selection of IEMs. What is wrong with it? Nothing. Amazing sub bass extension. It just has this, it's a DD, so it has this way of doing things that is not easy for a BA to do as equally well. For an electrostatic as well to do equally well, at least in terms of electrostatics on IEMs. Okay, it's got this nice weight, this nice tonality to the bass, which is just you really have to hear it. Mids, again, a reference of mine in terms of mids, and the highs are silky smooth. Great with technicalities. It's truly. I mean, the EJ07M is. If the EJ, how can I post this without confusing people? If you want a very well executed tribrid and you have $500-600 to spend, out of all the tribrids that I've heard, for me there is two choices: Variations and EJ07M. That's it. They have similar flavors in a lot of things, and it's just then down to what your personal preference is. This one will have more composed sub bass and mid bass and transition into mids, while the Variations is a little bit more leaner in the mid bass and can sometimes be lacking for certain genres. But this is an amazingly well executed tribrid with a price which, let's put it this way. I think that the Lava, which is basically now a collaboration that HBB did and a retune of this, was based on this because the basis of this IEM was really, really good. Not detracting any value from the EJ07, the original. No, mind you, I'm not. But I think that what this IEM offered was more substantial to deem a retune with the way that it was done on the lava to make it the sensible choice. All this blah 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 conversation to bring us then finally to the ST8B. It has 38 series and 37 series in the base, and then it has TWFK nulls for the mids and for the continuation of the mids and for the highs. It's 8 units, 224 or 2222, whichever way you want to consider it. And the best way I can kind of resume what this sounds like is a neon with slightly tamed bass. That's the best I can say. It is for me. It is now equally. I'm going to put it that way. Equally, my favorite all BA set that I own, and it surpasses the DT600. It is seriously unbelievable how clean it is, how it goes and fetch details which I was not expecting, to be honest, and how tonally it is so correct. So actually, let me just show you a graph here, and you'll perhaps understand better what I am trying to convey. Okay. This is the graph of, oops, sorry guys. This is the graph of the Neon versus the ST8B. And as you can see, there's a lot of similarities, okay? Everything follows through quite nicely, just at a lower level. The transition from, bass to mids is, well, you can see it's perfect. Everything stays within... while everything in the Neon, oops, sorry about that, guys. While everything on the Neon stays within a margin of about 10 dBs, the ST8B is able to bring that, minimum and maximum margin down to about 7 dBs. Oops, sorry. And what that all does is it just makes things more natural sounding. That dip that you have there at 5K, I think it's, it's perfect. Any possibility of any excess at 5, between 4.5 and 5.5K that might sometimes happen, and you feel that upper mids there, presence being slightly sibilant or aggressive. There's nothing. There's none of that. Nothing. And then the extension past 10K is again perfect. Really, the bass is clean, impactful. It sounds like a DD, but a very quick DD. If you've listened to other GS audio products, when you listen to, for example, to the GD7B, the bass on the GD7B, it's a very quick bass. It's got nice impact, great depth, great extension, but it's quick. And the ST8 does it in exactly the same way. It's quick, it's got extension, it hits you and it goes away. There's it doesn't stay. Would it be nice if maybe it could sometimes just carry on a little bit more? Maybe. I'm not going to say that maybe it wouldn't, it could. But I just love the way the bass on the ST8 is just bam, it hits you, clean, done, finished. Next. Mids, beautiful mids. I mean, really, really good. female voices, male voices, instruments in general, pianos, guitars, saxes, everything is just flawless. Again, I haven't said this today, but again, with all the music that I listen to, for example, 80s from Bruno Mueller, the guitar is wow. It is something else. It really does it. It does it something. It really does it well. Uh, New Dawn, El Fado from Dominic Miller, amazing. Again, the guitar is just so realistic. You can feel the strings. It's really something else. Deeper from Pete Velasco, the bass line of that song is something that you must hear. The ST8 does it flawlessly. um, Let me see, for example, another song, um, in terms of voices, Holding On, or Hey Laura from Gregory Porter. Beautiful. You feel it's got that nice weight that it should have to his voice. It's really it's flawless. Um, with more dynamic stuff, like for example with Black Eyed Peas, Boom Boom Pow. Again, his voice, the one out of all of these IEMs, the one that for me does the voices the best, of Black Eyed Peas, is the EJ07M. The EJ07 and the Neon, they are the two best ones. I mean, the difference here is just a little bit more, tonally. Just this beats the Neon by being just a tad more correct. Okay, this honestly, and I don't want to detract anything from the Neon, but this is on the level of the Neon. It is on the level of the Neon with that song in particular. Um, Unconditional from Soul Persona. Again, the female voices on here, beautiful. These three IMs with that song are equal. Equal. There's really nothing. Taste of Honey from Patricia Barber. Again, her voice, the 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 the, the, the drum that the song has, it's just really well executed on the ST8B. And again, it stands on the level of the Neon and of the EJ07M. In terms of technicalities, what can I say? Soundstage, really good, really wide, lots of space. Imaging, very good as well. And that's where maybe there are some songs that the soundstage is good, imaging is good. It's got all the right ingredients for having very good detail retrieval. However, there are some songs that for some reason, I just don't know. I was expecting just a little bit more, and I was left, with like, okay. Like for example, I Will Always Love You from Christopher Goss. I usually use that song for the 3D effects and the left to right and all the detailed retrieval. And it does it really good. It does it really good, mind you. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I don't know. Maybe my expectations make it that I was expecting a little bit more. Sea Smooth from George Benson as well. Another song that it's like I was saying, I think maybe it's down to the expectations that I created, because I was so surprised by how good it sounded that I was just not expecting it, to be honest. I mean, the ST4, which I have, is really good. It plays really well, but the ST4, if I compared, which I did, the ST4 with the DT300, the younger brother of the DT600, and the Bravery, yes, it's better than the Bravery, but it's no match for the DT300. in my opinion. The ST1, it's a great single BA, plays really well, mids, but again, it's not without flaw. So when I approached the ST8, I approached it with the usual caution, and I didn't want to create any expectations or anything. I said, okay, let's see what this is capable. And like I said earlier, the moment I heard it, I was like, oh my god, this thing, wow, this thing, this reminds me of a Neon. It was one of the first things that came to my mind. It reminds me of a less bassy Neon. And I wasn't wrong. I wasn't wrong, because the more I've been listening to it and the more I do comparisons, all I have to do is just EQ the Neon just 1-2 dBs lower, and they become almost undistinguishable, and I think that kind of gives it its positioning. It is an IEM that, if you do not have perhaps the money to go for the Neon, and mind you, the Neon now will have a newer upgraded version which has a bass switch which allows to bring down the bass, and thus enabling the mids and the rest of the spectrum to shine more and to be cleaner. So making it an all-around better IEM. If this IEM was going to be more satisfying for the bass head lovers, myself included, then the newer Neon, the Neon Pro, will perhaps be more satisfying for a wider variety of people. So it will probably satisfy people that like excuse me, that like the RSV, they would like, that like the SA6, that like a presentation which can be more laid back. I like an energetic presentation. I like, and I've said it quite a few times, I like in a presentation which has got guts. So I love the Neon because of that. It's got all this power. You can feel that it's got, and this is well, this is a baby Neon, let's put it that way, and I think that basically summarizes it all. The ST8B is, in my opinion, a baby Neon. It can be had for roughly half the price, 2/3 of the price. So if you want to have a taste of what the Neon is capable of doing, but unfortunately you don't have the money for that, this will be a really good proposal, or really good option. I will be receiving soon our audio Allure, which is a 6BA unit, which is priced more along the lines of the ST8B, and I guess there the comparison will be a much more just and fair comparison. And that if it is what I am expecting it to be, that will be an option for those that want to have, again, a taste of the Neon but don't have the cash for the Neon. Okay, how does it stand in comparison to the EJO7M? Well, okay, let's be realistic. The same way as the Neon is ultimately a better IEM, the EJO7M is ultimately a better IEM. However, having said that, again, for an all BA set, it has qualities that reminded me at times of the EJO7, and that again, make it a more than a sufficient reason to be a purchase if you cannot afford the EJO7M. As for the DT600 and the GT12X, well, the DT600, it will always be there as one of my favorite IEMs, but the ST8 surpasses it. I'm sorry, and this is a hard one for me to say, but the ST8 surpasses. The only area where the DT600 is still reigns king. Well, the two places where it still reigns king, or better than the ST8B, is that it's got a little bit more extension up top, which is noticeable. You can hear it, and the ultimate of the lows, it's also slightly better. But no, minimal. As for the GT12X, well, the GT12X, and I'll actually show you a quick graph here, which will be quite surprising as well. Okay, so this is the graph of the ST8B versus the Neon. Okay, and this is the graph of the G212X next to the Neon. And you can see that graphically, especially from 400 hertz up, it's very similar. I mean, really very similar. It's kind of almost copying, following the Neon. So it's a better copy of the Neon, let's say, up top. However, having said that, when you listen to it, it sounds leaner. It doesn't. It really sounds leaner, and above all, and I think this is down to the actual quality of the BA units used. It doesn't have that tonality and that, timbre that the Neon has. It's got a more it's not fake. It's not as warm. It's not as it's BA sound. Period. Let's put it that way to summarize it. And and that's it, guys. This has been a long review. ST8B, definitely recommend it. If you have the opportunity to listen to it, I would say listen to it without hesitation. The cable that I'm using is not the standard cable. I'm using actually a KBR cable. And the tips are my usual 07 tips. Actually, you can see most of the IEMs are actually using 07 tips. And that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this, and take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.